Well, good evening. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. My name is Kaylani Scott, and I'm the Communications Manager for the Nez Perce Tribe. And I have been assisting with the Spalding-Allen Collection Committee over the past several months. So we'll go ahead and get rolling here. Again, I want to thank you all for coming out, but before we dive into the agenda too much, I do want to welcome up Rachel Edwards, one of our Nez Perce Tribal Executive Committee members, and she's going to open us up with a prayer.
Tatskalawit, good evening and welcome to our event. I'd like to just thank the Creator for allowing us to be together in this and for this most important occasion and getting this collection back to our people. And we just hope everybody is safe, and thank you. Amen. As Kalani had mentioned, I am Rachel Paisano Edwards. I serve on the Nez Perce Tribal Executive Committee, which is the governing body of the Nez Perce Tribe. Chairman Penny sends his regrets. He's not able to attend today, so he asked me to represent NEPTEC here this evening. So I'm just going to give a short welcome here. And so we are excited to have everyone here to be a part of the reintroduction of some very special pieces of Nimiipuu art and culture. These items were reacquired by the Nez Perce Tribe 25 years ago. And it is now time to rename the collection with a Nimiipuu name to help bring these items' journey home to the end. The significance of this collection cannot be overstated. They were created by the hands of our people. To have them here in our possession gives artists, beaders, and crafters an opportunity to really examine the methods used in the early 1800s by their own families. This collection was purchased by the tribe for more than $600,000, but the items within the collection are all priceless to us. We will continue to partner with the Nez Perce National Historical Park to preserve the collection for generations to come. What is the new name for the collection? I am sorry to say that we cannot tell you tonight, not even in secret. That Nimiipuu name will be revealed at the special event at Spalding Park on June 26, 2021. So stay tuned and be sure to join us on June 26th. Thank you for all coming to this event. We look forward to sharing the collection and its new name with you. The items themselves are currently on display at the park, and we encourage you to view and to visit. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rachel. So she mentioned a lot of the history of these artifacts, their significance and importance, especially to the Nez Perce tribe and the tribal membership. But just to give you a little glimpse of what we've been doing, the collection was reacquired 25 years ago, and since then it's been titled the Spalding-Allen Collection. Of course, that is not a suitable name for this collection, and that is why it's so important that we're having this event to give it a formal name that's fitting. So we're extremely excited. Although we had hoped for more time to plan, of course with this last year that wasn't possible, but you'd never guess with how well it's been pulled off by our committee. And I imagine at the event on the 26th, everybody will have an enjoyable time and it'll be a historic moment for everybody. With that, I just want to take a quick moment to thank our sponsors for this event. It could not have been done without you. Our sponsors include the Nez Perce Tribe, Nez Perce National Historical Park, Avista, Wistecnamit, Clearwater River Casino and Lodge, Presbytery Inland Northwest, Hub International, Umpqua Bank, Edward Jones, Colligan, and Pepsi. Can we give them a round of applause? Yeah. Up next, I'd like to welcome up one of our committee members, Nakia Williamson. He has been an instrumental piece to making this happen and ensuring that we are doing it right. And so I will go ahead and hand over the mic to him. Thank you.
Katiaya oikalo ka noon paitsik noon wasik na ka itu he was nunam ki hatao ka oikalo ki kalalait ki nunam wispol sam ka kanit ka timanit ka walutalik and ka oikaslik kinawatas pa. Just using a few of our words of our language, because I think it's really significant and important this time that we are celebrating, and it is indeed a celebration for us to mark this special occasion for this collection that has been reacquired for some time. And I know for many of our people, it's been something that has been on the mind of many of us to give a proper name to this collection for what it represents, what it is, and how it has paid testament to a huge part of our experiences on this land, in which many things of historical significance had happened and our people have endured. And so in a sense, the life, the creation of these items, and the huge trip that they took over to where they eventually were for a period of time before they came back to their homeland is somewhat emblematic of the experience of our people. And indeed, I think the cultural context which these items come from is so very important to us, and that the naming is so important to us, because for us, these items are more than curated items. They're more than museum objects. And in the past, as they were described by Spalding to Dudley Allen, is curiosities, because of the idea of tribal nations were gonna become a thing of the past. And so I think this is a reaffirmation of our steadfast belief of our elders, of those that persevered to come to this point, and that what these things represent for us is much more than curiosities or even curated items as they have been treated for a long time, which isn't necessarily wrong, but I think for them to be recontextualized within the community that they were derived from is so very important to us as Nez Perce people. And the fact that they are owned in part by the Nez Perce tribe and curated in partnership with the Nez Perce National Historical Park, I think is really important statement as well. But I think for me that it's important as part of that recontextualization of these materials is that what they are is they represent and they symbolize that enduring relationship that our people have maintained that has kept us here. I think where we're at currently is we have an archaeologist over here to my right, 11,000-year-old continually habited Tauyanekas, or winter village site of our people. I mean, so I think it's very important to recall that and to understand the laws and values that our people had in place that are represented in these art forms as we now know it and we now see it. And I think what they also do is they remind us of our laws that have made us sustain on this landscape for those thousands of years. 16,000 plus years our people have lived on this landscape, and how that process connected us to from our time of creation, when those animals were named and they were given an order in life in terms of a biological perspective. The way nature as we see it was given an order at the time of creation. And all of the things that make up this collection reinforce those concepts. And the fact when these items were taken out of our community and dispossessed from our community, we lost some of the individual family information that was once a part of these items as well. Because even now we know in our community those families that have passed down many of these cultural items, whether they be tu'inusus, war bonnets, we spoiled some buckskin dresses or shirts, that we know that by when we see a younger person wearing an item, that they're memorializing their past people, their ancestors. And that goes back to a very deep teaching that our people have of why these things are passed down the way they are and not buried in the ground. It's a very deep teaching that our people had and continue to pay homage to. But these items are representative of those lineages and that broader connection that exceeds our current reservation boundaries, the way we live now, and indeed represents that broad relationship we had to this 19 million acres that our people originally occupied in those original times. And I think what that does is it reinforces that understanding, it reinforces that relationship and those natural processes that had been in place that our people were a part of. And for me, that's really at the basis of what we are experiencing here with this collection. And as we go through this process of renaming and the act of disconnecting the collection to those that were part of that colonial experience that collected these items and dispossessed our people of these items by whatever means, and reconnected them back to the people and the community which they belong. And I think that's a powerful statement. That's a powerful statement, you know, for us, knowing what these items truly mean to our people. And I think that makes a powerful statement for each and every one of us, you know, as we all experience this together. And I can kind of think back to a very important time, at least for me personally. I think it was 95, Bob might be able to help me, that's 95, 96, where I was a young man at that time, and I had just spent a summer internship at the Nez Perce National Historical Park. At the time, Bob Chenoweth was the curator, and at that time I wasn't really quite sure. I think at that time I thought I would go into the museum, more of a museum type work, and an opportunity opened up. And on my other side, I ended up being hired at the Nez Perce Culture Resource Program by Jason Lyon and Alan Slickpoo. And that was a really important time for me personally, because at that time was when this collection, when this whole process was started, in terms of there was the thought that maybe the collection would be lost and would have to be sent back to Ohio. And of course, you know, that's when I was brought in, Tisa and others that played an instrumental role in trying to document those collections so that we could have something for our community if we weren't able to acquire this very pricey collection, even though I think the $600,000 that was paid for the collection was a hefty price, that it really nowhere comes nowhere near even the monetary value, if you could put that on these items, the true value of what they are. And so because of that, I think it was a really critical, key time in my lifetime, in my development, and I was able to experience what had happened there and play a small part. And then ultimately, you know, the history was written as the way it was. And fortunately, the tribe, because of a lot of people that will be named of these forthcoming days, because of the work that they did, the leadership that happened. I played a small role in that, but I was there. And then that was probably one moment in my early, I guess, formative time as an adult, as a tribal employee, as a, you know, going into the profession that I chose. And the second one was in '97 when I became hired as a permanent employee. I think I was transitioning over from the park. And in '97, that spring, I was hired on. And then that summer, I can't remember if it was June or July, was when in Kennewick, Washington, when the ancient one, or Kennewick man, was encountered. And that literally wrapped up, I think, in 2018, and I was at that time the director for the Nez Perce Tribe Culture Resource Program. So basically, these two very pivotal moments in the recent history of the tribe kind of correlated to my own personal history and my small connection that was, I think, really defining for myself in terms of how I experienced. And I, you know, even though I may have been a small part of what had happened, it basically covered my entire life, professional life, during the mid 90s up until very recently. So I can definitely say that this has been a you know, very, almost a lifetime experience, you know, for me, and that it's been a very important, it's something that I'm going to pass down, you know, to my child and grandchildren. And when we did the Kennewick Man repatriation and finally signed the papers for the transfer of the materials from the Burke Museum, I made sure that my son was there to experience that. Josiah Pinkham, who's also involved in a lot of that, brought his son so they could pay witness to that really important time. And so this time is kind of like that in my thinking, and it's a way of not wrapping up a part of history, but really closing up a part of history and opening up a new path for more things to happen that are good and that are beneficial to the tribe, that will help contribute to the well-being of our people, and to reestablish these connections with these collections that are really truly living parts of our community, and to reestablish those relationships that are so very important, that again, they remind us and tie us to this landscape of why it's important, of why we're here in this place that we live. And because of that, I'm very thankful for all the work that all of you have done. Those that have, many of the people that have put a lot of the work are no longer here. And so, you know, I think I also want to recognize those individuals that were very pivotal in getting us to this point, and that we carried it to this point, and hopefully handed it off to those that come behind us that are going to take it even further. And so for that, I'm very grateful to share this little bit of time. I kind of wanted to address some of the history, but I also, you know, there's some more events that I'll be partaking in this weekend, so I got to save some material for the Saturday talk. So I'll end it at that, and I really appreciate everybody in this room. I appreciate the support that we've gotten and received, and really the outcomes that we've seen so far. And I really look forward to the upcoming events that will be happening, and when we're going to make that name be known, announce it, and make it official. And that way we can put aside the name of the collector that was once attached to this, and push aside that process and that manner in which collections are named, and welcome these collections back in the community in the way that is most proper, and, you know, for something of such significance to our people. So again, katsia'aya for everybody, and thank you for a little bit of a time, and I hope to see you in all the upcoming events that's going to be happening that's associated with the Spalding-Allen renaming. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nakia. So one of the cool things that I got to do was we did an interview last week, and you know, Nakia spoke about the importance of these items, and oftentimes we forget that these items were once used. They weren't just art pieces or display items. But I got to listen to Lynn Pinkham talk about these different items, and she even talked about these corn husk bags and how they were used. And she had mentioned that even when she went and picked these items up, they still had food remnants in them. And that just goes to show you, you know, the significance and importance of these items being more so than just something pretty to look at. And that was really neat. I mean, who knows how old that food is, but it's still there, there's proof. Before we move on to our last presenter, I did just want to have you all take note of the few upcoming events that we have prior to the main event on June 26th. So actually this Saturday is our next event, where we will have another presentation from Nakia, and that's where he will talk about the history a little more. That will be at the Nez Perce National Historical Park from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Following that, on June 19th, we will have a panel discussion that will also be at the park, and will include Lynn Pinkham, Kevin Peters, Josiah Pinkham, Dr. Trevor Bond, and Bob Chenoweth. That will be from 3 o'clock to 4 p.m. And that same day, we will also be having a book signing with Trevor Bond in his newly released book. So hopefully you'll be able to attend. The book signing, I believe, will be from 4 to 5. And so we hope to see you all there. And then, of course, leading right on up to the main event, we will be having the cultural walk here. This is the soft opening, but that cultural walk will still have the pop-ups available, I believe. And so folks will be able to see it on the 24th, and then the big event being on the 26th from 10 to 2. And we hope to see you all there. So on that note, our last presenter is Stephen Thied, and he is the new superintendent for Nez Perce National Nez Perce National Historical Park. So please welcome him to the podium.
Oh my, it's my first chance, to meet all of you and to be a part of this. My name is Steve Theed. It's Stephen, but I go by Steve. Again, I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. And on behalf of the National Park Service, I thank everybody here. I had nothing to do with it, but many people, the people in this room did. I do invite all of you to come and see the collection. I have looked at it carefully. It is amazing. I've just learned from Nakia some of the things I had, more things about it. This is something that is really remarkable. I was on a call today. We have a group within the National Park Service called Circle, and it is tribal members and people who support tribes and tribal members. And I got to report out for the Pacific West region to say what's going on, and so of course I talked about this event. And of all of the things that we talked about for 2 hours, there were not more questions and more interest was shown about this event and recognition of the significance of this event. This is really remarkable. What you have done, and what this means, and I think in one sense the precedent that is being set here. You should all be very, very proud, and I am proud to be a part of this. Thank you.
All right, and with that, we will wrap it up. I believe there are hors d'oeuvres and drinks available, so please help yourselves. Again, thank you so much for coming out this evening. We really just wanted to share in the moment with all of you and our committee and the park staff. It's been a wonderful partnership, which it always has been, but this event was a big event, and I think everybody coming together really pulled it off. Thank you to the Clearwater River Casino and Lodge for allowing us to host the event and assist us in making this possible. As you walk around, you'll see the new pop-up tents with some of the different artifacts and some information about those artifacts. And then just to note, we do have a Facebook page for the event. So if you do have Facebook, please check that out and you'll be able to stay up to date on all the upcoming events and information leading to the June 26th event. And then we also have a website, and we have posters with a QR code and the site address located on there. So be sure to check those out. That will have more history and details as well. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.